clearly Chauncey is the best person for the job.
A new deputy mayor for public safety, Chauncey Parker, taking on the role after Phil Banks resigned. Parker letting New Yorkers know exactly where he wants to start.
And all of us work together and laser focus on the very, very small number of people who drive gun violence in New York City.
Today, he's going on the record for a Picks on Politics exclusive. Plus, a New York City task force deployed to Roosevelt Avenue.
Mayor Adams, come back here and start taking care of business. We need New York and we need Queens to start to look the way it's supposed to. And it's not like this.
The area riddled with crime and prostitution. The city council member representing Queens, Francisco Moya, here to discuss the stepped-up efforts to clean up Corona. Plus, expanding the cannabis business.
It seems to me to be insane to expect a business model that requires a business to sell one category of product and not go out of business eventually.
New Jersey lawmakers looking to add more than just pot products, but not everybody is on board. Picks on Politics starts right now.
This is Picks on Politics.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Picks on Politics. I'm Dan Manarino. And this week, another new name taking on a top role in the Adams administration. Chauncey Parker, named Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. He takes over the position held by Phil Banks, who resigned just a week prior. Parker has a long record of civil service, serving as the Assistant Deputy Mayor for Public Safety under Banks. He was also the NYPD's Deputy Commissioner for Collaborative Policing and has spent time working for the Southern District of New York and the Manhattan DA's office. Parker taking on this new role at a very pivotal time in the Adams administration, and he's coming to Picks on Politics for his first exclusive interview. Chauncey Parker going on the record. And the Deputy Mayor joining me now, so great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. Now, I want to talk to you about the timing of it all, right? First and foremost, you know, a lot of people are leaving the Adams administration. That is one thing, whether or not they are involved in an investigation or a scandal. And now you are coming on board, taking on this very pivotal role of Deputy Mayor for Public Safety. New Yorkers want, of course, to feel safe. Was there any hesitation, given what's going on at City Hall, to join the administration?
No, to me, this is, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to the mayor for this opportunity. In many ways, I feel I've spent almost the last 40 years preparing for this opportunity, whether as a local prosecutor, federal prosecutor, head of criminal justice for the state of New York, working at the NYPD. I think this is the opportunity to take giant swings for the city, for the mayor, and bring the entire public safety partnership together.
Your ascension to the role, widely welcomed and widely praised. I made a lot of phone calls about this prior to this interview, and not one person had something bad to say about you. But I have to ask you about the perception of the position, right? Because it wasn't held by somebody who had the same regard as you prior. So do you feel a responsibility to shift the perception of the role?
I think the role is very clear to me. It's really actually what I've thought since I started in public service many, many years ago. I think our role in government, in particular in public safety, our North Star is to keep people safe with the lightest touch possible. And the way you do that is you got to bring you have to build partnerships. It's not just a 911 isn't the response to everything. You got to bring partnerships together, both federal, state, local law enforcement partners together. You have to work with all these different agencies who have something that they can do to enhance public safety. Our community partners, what they do to enhance public safety. So I think it's building partnerships. It's toward this North Star of keeping people safe with the lightest touch possible. It's using data and evidence, not gut feeling, to drive your policy, which means that you have to be ideologically agnostic about what the answer is. It may not be what you think it is, but if you actually bring all the partners to the table and you listen, you find solutions to these problems. And then you have to relentlessly follow up to make sure what you're doing is working. So I think it's a perfect moment in time to pull that partnership together. That really is what the mayor has done in many, many other areas.
Let me ask you about the title, right? Deputy Mayor for Public Safety. When Mayor Adams announced Phil Banks to be the Deputy Mayor of Public Safety, he was met with criticism because the position had been vacant for quite some time, right? So what is, I guess, the responsibility of a Deputy Mayor of Public Safety when you already have a police commissioner?
The key responsibility is to achieve that North Star, which is the mayor's North Star. How do you keep people safe, which is the most important thing. Wherever it is in New York City, people need to be safe, need to feel safe, but they need to be safe. And you need to do it with the lightest touch possible. So in this role, it is bringing in these different partners, because keeping people safe isn't just calling 911 and getting the police response. Keeping people safe is, it could be opening a gym on Saturday night that was otherwise closed. One of the mayor's projects is called Saturday Night Lights. It's a very simple idea, which is that gyms should not be closed in our poorest, most vulnerable neighborhoods on Saturday night. Started with one gym, now it's 140 gyms every single Saturday. And Councilmember Moy is one of the great partners with that initiative, particularly with soccer. But it's giving kids those opportunities. That's a crime-fighting strategy. It's a crime-fighting strategy to take public spaces and to transform them so that they're places that kids can play. I think it's diversion programs are really, really important. Working with our community partners to think outside the box, but make sure that we're always laser focused on what the ultimate goal is for people to be safe. But where the imagination, the creativity comes is with the lightest touch. And I think with this platform that I'm able to play this role in, there's so much that we can do if we work together.
What do you mean by the lightest touch, right? Because I think there's been a trust factor when it comes to public safety overall with New Yorkers who have said for quite some time now, when I'm out there talking to folks who are saying, it's not working, right? I don't feel safe. So you're battling a perception problem, but what do you mean by the lightest touch?
Well, one, perception is really important because crime is down. Just say, for example.
But they don't believe that.
They don't believe, and when the mayor came in, gun violence, for example, is down almost 40% in New York City over the last 3 years under the mayor's leadership. But I think that you could say it, but people have to feel it. So I think a key, what I mean by the lightest touch, and the mayor means by the lightest touch, is be creative, be imaginative, bring these partners to the table. And what a lightest touch can be, something like it's very important, is lighting and cameras are a tremendous crime-fighting tool. And so to make sure that if you have lighting and cameras, you oftentimes don't need the police because that area is safe. So that's a way of doing it, instead of just waiting for the crime to occur and then you respond to it, is to use those kind of partnerships. I think it's also activating spaces like whether it's a park, whether it's a gym, anything that brings people together and builds that social infrastructure, brings the village together, so to speak, that keeps people safe.
At your announcement, you highlighted gun violence during your announcement, saying it's a small amount of people behind the problem, right? So it is something that you obviously thought was very important to bring up on day one of you being announced. How do you plan to tackle that issue of gun violence differently than it has been in the past?
Well, the key thing is to focus on that North Star, which is to keep people safe with the lightest touch. As it relates to gun violence, there is a very small number of people who drive the gun violence. People can talk about this gang or that gang, and they could have 50 different people. But there may be only 3 or 4 people who would actually shoot somebody. So you need to, first of all, be laser focused on the people who actually drive the gun violence and not be overbroad.
Was that not being done already?
Well, it's been done under this mayor. It's being done since day one, and I'll give you an example. Is that he created what's called the Gun Violence Strategies Partnership. It was just an idea, it's a blank sheet of paper, but here's the idea, is that there are a relatively small number of people who drive this gun violence, and they're getting arrested again for a gun violent felony. So there's a team of 25 federal, state, local law enforcement agencies, everyone from the U.S. attorneys, the DAs, DEA, FBI, the city jails, the prisons. There's 25 to every single federal, state, local law enforcement agency has a representative that comes to a meeting every morning at 10 o'clock, every weekday morning at 10 o'clock, and they review who's been arrested in the last 24 hours, who fits this description, that they're driving gun violence, they're repeatedly involved in gun violence. It's about 2 people a day, 3 people a day. But those are people, as a matter of public safety, we have to do everything we can to get them off the street. That started as an idea, that started with a blank sheet of paper. Today we had our 763rd meeting in a row. There's nothing like that anywhere in the country, I promise you, in any field, where every single agency representative comes to the same table, looks at the same map, and work side by side with a common North Star.
I want to get to perception in just one second, but I want to get the thought process for you on the police commissioner, because that is something that's widely talked about. You're now the deputy mayor of public safety. Are you in the room on making a selection for police commissioner?
The mayor has a police commissioner, and so I'm laser focused on the work that, well, he has an interim police commissioner, and he's the police commissioner, and I'm laser focused on doing the work that I need to do for the mayor, which is to focus on that North Star of keeping people safe with the lightest touch.
You're going to have to work with the commissioner very closely, right? So that's why I'm asking if you're in the room or to make the interim title not.
Well, full disclosure, I love the NYPD. I've been a groupie of the NYPD in some sense for 38 years. I've seen firsthand the courage, the bravery of these police officers. I've worked with them on cases for forever. I think they risk their life to protect us. I love the police department, and we work very closely with the team now, and we'll always work closely together. But I have no doubt about the excellence of this police department, because it's the best police department in the world. So the path forward is very exciting and very promising.
Do you have a good relationship with Tom Donilon?
I do. Yep.
So we got to go. I know we got to go. I just want to ask you real quick, to tackle that perception problem, besides the North Star and light touch, what do you see as the solution? I
think the key thing is to bring our partners together, listen to people. I think it's block by block, is bringing people together and solving problems. Some of the perception is our quality of life challenges, a pothole or sanitation question, cameras being blocked by branches, whatever it may be. It's a question of getting all of us together in the same room, literally and figuratively, looking at the same map at the same time and solving these problems, and then we can do anything.
Okay. Well, I want you to come on back as you continue on the job.
Thank you.
Thank you for making this your first stop, Deputy Mayor. Great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And still to come, everybody, tackling the troubles on Roosevelt Avenue in Queens.
The prostitution is taking up every single block. They will be out with their pimps, and they don't care.
A task force sent to take on the issue head on. Next up, Councilmember Francisco Moya and I discussing why this is a persistent problem and what can clean up the streets for good. We're back in a few minutes.